The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs earlier today held a day-long validation of the Gambia's Green Recovery Focused National Development Plan (NDP). The government of the Gambia has formulated a new planning framework, the National Development Plan (NDP 2023-2027), to chart the recovery of the Gambia from COVID-19, climate change, and other shocks. The plan is the successor to the elapsed NDP 2018-2022 developed under the leadership of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. The preparation of the new plan adopts a whole-of-society approach to provide a blueprint that articulates the medium-term transformational aspirations of the country. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Honorable Babakar Ojuf, Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment says the Gambia government is committed to completing its projects across the country. He adds that the policy document will address some of the challenges faced by the government.
Chairman, the initiative to formulate a successor plan to NDP 2018-2021 demonstrates government's renewed commitment to implementation of programs and projects that will contribute to transforming our country to a more progressive, vibrant, and inclusive society. The RFNDP will build on the gains registered by the previous NDP and incorporate the lessons learned during its implementation. Its formulation comes at a time when countries around the globe are still reeling from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the effects of the geopolitical crisis around the world, including the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. As a medium-term development plan, the RFNDP will help address these and other development challenges being encountered with a view to achieving the development aspirations of our citizens. This plan is the vehicle through which we as a government define the requisite strategies to address the prevailing socio-economic development challenges, taking into account our past and present circumstances. The successful implementation of the RFNDP will ensure achievement of the country's medium-term development objectives and, by extension, contribute to the realization of our global and regional commitments such as the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and the African Union Agenda 2063.
The Trade Minister further highlights three key areas the RFNDP 2023-2027 would focus on in the next 5 years.
Mr. Chairman, the following strategic goals will be the focus of the country over the next 5 years. 1, build household and community resilience to address shocks and crises arising from climate change, economic volatility, and counter the effects of public health emergencies. 2, to consolidate gains and address critical development gaps in governance and economic and social transformation. And 3, strengthen accountability, build partnerships, and put in place robust and sustainable social or resource mobilization strategies for enhanced delivery and development outcomes.
Honorable Salimata E.T. Toure, Secretary General Head of Civil Service, urges the stakeholders to adequately scrutinize the document for better implementation.
Distinguished participants, your role here today is to critically review the draft with a view to further enriching the document to reflect the needs and aspirations of the Gambian people. I therefore encourage all stakeholders to adequately scrutinize this draft document and provide valuable inputs. It is also important for participants to optimally utilize the breakout sessions to address any pending gaps in the document. Successful implementation of the RFNDP requires strong institutional and human capacity at all levels. The role of the civil service and the public sector in the effective implementation of the plan cannot be overemphasized. The public sector is the steel frame for reforms and improved service delivery for the attainment of our national development objectives.
Honorable Abdoulaye Jallo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs says the RFNDP 2023-2027 went through a nationwide consultation before being finalized for validation.
I am pleased to note that the plan has undergone through a highly consultative and inclusive process, and all relevant stakeholders have been engaged, both at the ward, regional and national levels throughout the country. The stakeholders that participated during these consultations were mainly the ministries, departments, agencies, the development partners, also the private sector, and civil society organizations, and of course, including our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. These consultations provided a platform for stakeholders to provide inputs into the formulation process of the plan. Once this plan is finalized and adopted, then the Green Recovery Focus NDP will address the recovery needs of this country and provide development partners also an avenue to align their development priorities to our country's needs.
Furthermore, the representative of the United Nations office in the Gambia says his institution would work with the Gambia government for the successful implementation of the plan.
So whilst there might be contestations in interpretation of the information, I think it's very important to say that we are looking at the same type of evidence. And it was a big learning curve for us. So the next day, to enhance this, I would say that was the first step in our alignment. The next step on alignment is for us to now fully align with this new National Development Plan. And that said, full alignment can be achieved once the validation has happened, but also the cost of implementing the National Development Plan is known. And the results framework is also known, so that the development partners can then know exactly how much they can commit and to what. We therefore look forward to working with the government to come up with this results framework and also a costed plan, which we will then all align with and continue to work hard on.
The previous National Development Plan NDP 2018-2021, which was extended to 2022, was formulated after a historic change that ushered in a new dispensation after 2 decades of President Jammeh's rule. With its 8 strategic priorities and 7 critical enablers, the NDP 2018-2021 set out to rebuild the country's battered economy, restore democratic institutions and values, deliver transitional justice, and broaden citizen space in the public discourse. It also sought to revitalize infrastructure and the productive sector, agriculture, tourism, industry, and improve health and education outcomes. Reporting for Kerr, Fatou, I am Landin Cisse.